Wednesday, June the 6th, 2023 annual public meeting. Sorry, forget it. Here we go. The Tuesday, June the 6th annual public meeting to order. May I have a motion, please, to approve the agenda?
John.
Thank you,
Second.
Geraldine. Thank you, Randy. Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Carried. The chair's report. My chair's report is dated Wednesday, June the 6th. So Heather, you will get a revised copy. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining us in person or virtually for the Village of Chester's annual public meeting. The Municipal Government Act of Nova Scotia requires every village to hold an annual public meeting of electors on or before the first day of July in each fiscal year. Per the MGA, the notice of meeting has been posted on the village website, advertised in the Lighthouse Progress Bulletin, and posted throughout the village. The Municipal Government Act requires the chair of the Village Commission to preside at the annual meeting, in addition to ensuring a report of the preceding fiscal year and the audited financial statements are presented. At the table, we have Maxine Vino, Administrative Assistant and Recording Secretary. Wave, Maxine. Thank you. We have Lawrence Lake in between these two handsome gentlemen of Morse Brewster Lake, our auditing firm. And then to Lawrence's right is Cody Stevens, Chief of the Chester Volunteer Fire Department. Heather McCallum over there, our Clerk Treasurer. Commissioner Laura Mulrooney, Commissioner Carol Noss, Commissioner Randy O'Malley, Geraldine Pauley, and myself. And please note, this was in alphabetical order. No favoritism. Fiscal 22-23 began with the resignation of Clerk Treasurer Edgety on April 13th, 2022. Not a particularly auspicious start to the year. Little did we know at the time, we were about to meet and hire on an interim basis, possibly the best clerk treasurer the village had ever experienced, Jeff Conrad. Among many other activities, Jeff coordinated a marathon election impeccably. 8 candidates for 4 positions, oversaw the demolition of the Windjammer Motel, prepared 2 budgets for the commissions, MODC's, and the Chester Fire Service Committee's approval. And not to steal Chief Stevens' thunder from his report, prepared an RFP for the very successful sale of Pumper Tanker 551. Thanks to the continuing interest of a few residents regarding the delivery of meeting materials, at their suggestion, the commission started to include the complete meeting package on the village website in August of 2022. The change has been well received and was overdue. In September, Commissioner Laura Mulrooney, Jeff Conrad, and I attended the annual meeting of the Association of Nova Scotia Villages in Bible Hill. It was very interesting to hear how other villages struggled or succeeded in overcoming challenges similar to ours in Chester. To have an opportunity to speak with Minister Lohr, to share stories, to learn from our colleagues. At the October meeting, the commission recognized that some residents with limited household income excuse me, needed assistance. I'm wondering, can we have a timeout, please, for some water?
Okay, for you.
Thank you. This is a COVID hangover. I'm not Okay. Yeah, where was I? At the October meeting, the commission recognized that some residents with limited household income needed assistance with their property tax obligations. And we increased the ceiling for partial tax exemption. Not-for-profit organizations contribute much to the overall social health and welfare of our community and may also apply for partial tax relief. These initiatives must be monitored carefully so that the benefit to those in need is not passed on to all taxpayers. On May 12th, 2022, the village and the municipality established the Chester Volunteer Fire Service Committee. The joint agreement has not been without its challenges and is currently being revised to provide the committee with body corporate status, so the committee can be protected by directors and officers insurance. In keeping with insurance requirements, the Village of Chester approved the abuse prevention policy in February of 2023. Our final motions in fiscal 22-23 were to increase the wages of our faithful crossing guards to the provincial minimum wage, April 1st, 2023, and October 1st, 2023, and to welcome Heather McCallum as our clerk treasurer, effective March 13th, 2023. Heather comes to us from the town of Lunenburg, where her role was public engagement specialist and assistant municipal clerk. The commission is looking forward to working with Heather for many, many years to come. Welcome, Heather. Thank you to Commissioners Laura Mulrooney, Randy O'Malley, Geraldine Pauley, and outgoing Commissioner Carol Moss for your dedication and service this past year. Carol, enjoy your retirement.
Again.
Thank you, Jeff, Heather, and Maxine for providing answers when we needed them. Charlotte Butler and Sherry Rodenizer for being at the Duke Street Crosswalk, rain and shine, and Darcy Stevens of the Chester District Swim Program. As always, we thank the members of the Chester Volunteer Fire Department for having our backs at all times. Speaking of the CVFD, allow me to provide you with a little village history. Can you time it again? Yeah. Early in 1935, Foreman Hallbolts caught fire. His house caught fire. He didn't catch fire. Apparently, it burned for 2 days until it was reduced to ashes on the ground. That particular event solidified Mr. Hallbolt's belief that an organized fire department was needed here in Chester. Not a man to waste time, the provincial government of the day was approached and persuaded of the need to incorporate the village of Chester, an act to enable the inhabitants of the village of Chester to provide themselves with a system of street lighting and fire protection was passed the 30th day of April 1935 by the governor and assembly under the name Village of Chester. The first commissioners were Foreman Hallbolt, Ivan Smith, and Edmund Fader. By 1936, the Chester Volunteer Fire Department was up and running with 27 members, operating from a newly built station on Central Street. In addition to covering the village, The fire service was provided to the surrounding areas on a fee per call basis. The inclusion of a system of street lighting in the 1935 enactment supposedly was the result of the power company's reluctance to constantly respond to the never-ending need to replace the light bulbs shot out by naughty children with slingshots. In closing, a village is not just a collection of people living in a defined geographical area. A village is many people working together within and beyond those defined borders. The village commission, the Chester Volunteer Fire Department, the municipality, and the citizens, for the benefit of everyone. The recent wildfire events have highlighted the importance of cooperation and collaboration among entities near and far more than ever. I am proud to say the past few commissions have worked to build bonds rather than barriers with our colleagues and partners. It hasn't always been smooth sailing, but a little rough weather now and then makes an accomplishment all that much more satisfying. Respectfully submitted, moi. Thank you. Thus ended my report. And we will move on to item 4, the clerk treasurer's report. Heather.
Just gonna turn the camera a little bit. We'll need to do a couple of times tonight, I think. Thank you, Madam Chair. For those of you who have not met me, I'm Heather McCallum, and I joined the village in mid-March of this year as the new permanent clerk treasurer. I was previously with the town of Lunenburg, as Nancy mentioned, so I'm not a newcomer to local government. I often tell people I like local government because what we do here has a direct impact on the lives of our residents and businesses, as we're hearing tonight. This annual report is primarily based on the work done by the interim clerk treasurer, Jeff Conrad, who was with the village commission from May 2022 to the end of March. I was fortunate to overlap with him for a few weeks to assist with my onboarding. Overall, the village had a very good year as greater strides were made to come out of the pandemic and continue to advance the priorities of the commission and of residents. The report of the chair included many of the significant accomplishments, and I would like to add that in 2022-23, the commission operated the public washrooms adjacent to the Lido, which are open May 1st to November 11th, with daily cleaning through the week and twice daily on weekends. We operated the Lido pool from June 29th to Labor Day 2022, contracted for weekly green bin collection services during the period of June through September, operated the heritage style streetlights on the waterfront, contracted for on-site security at the pool overnight during Chester Race Week in response to some issues that had happened in previous years, operated the emergency health services building next to the fire hall, provided school crossing guards for the crossing area on Duke Street, provided rodent control services in public areas of the village, and provided seasonal beautification of our main street with flower baskets and wreaths. With regard to the fire service, Nancy gave an excellent overview. Staff at the village office continue to provide administrative support to the Chester Volunteer Fire Department and their operations. In addition to the daily work of administering accounts payable and receivable, we have been working closely with municipal staff to finalize our amended agreement that Nancy alluded to, which will see the Chester Fire Service Committee, a joint partnership of our two organizations, providing oversight rather than a service agreement as before. With regard to the new fire hall, the demolition of the old hotel was completed and an RFP will be going out in the coming weeks for a consultant for pre-design and engineering. As you know, the village would normally be in its annual election cycle with election day scheduled for June 13th, 2023 for the election of one commissioner for a 3-year term. However, one of the two candidates for the seat has withdrawn their candidacy. So So congratulations to Gloria Noss, who is there for elected by acclamation. So do not come out to vote on Saturday or next Tuesday. Thank you. The most important initiative on my to-do list this year is the development of the Chester Village Strategic Plan. Many of you may have participated in the robust public consultation with EDM Planning Services before the pandemic derailed so much of that good work. And the commission will be using this report as a jumping off point. I'm excited to work with this dedicated group of commissioners on this project. Financial, I'll just touch on this lightly as our auditor will certainly provide more detail. On the financial side, the village is also in very good shape, as you will shortly hear from our auditor as he reviews the 2022-23 financial statements. The village finished the year in good fiscal health with a surplus of $191,898 based on total revenue of $1,055,090 against expenses of $863,192. Per the Municipal Government Act, any surplus must be reinvested in reserve funds rather than rolled over into the next fiscal year. As of March 31st, 2023, cash in the bank was $181,927 and reserve investments totaled $835,476 across 6 funds. You may find these vary slightly with the audited statements because there are other pieces that get considered into that. The 6 in reserve funds are for fire apparatus, which is more than half of that total. Fire emergency operating, general government operating, Lido pool, utilities, and EHS reserves. With amortization, etc. factored in, it leaves the village with $1,168,488 in net financial assets. Although there was a surplus in 22-23, given the current volatile state of inflation, we anticipate many of our costs will increase in 2023-24. The budget passed on March 8th, 2023 includes projections for these costs. The commission has, however, held the village tax rate to the same rate as it's been for the past 6 years. To better support low-income residents and eligible nonprofit agencies in the village, halfway through the fiscal year, the commission raised income thresholds and exemption amounts. This amounted to $3,971 compared to $1,996 in the previous year, so just about doubled. For 2023-24, the village's total residential and commercial assessment is $481 million, while the outside fire and fireboat areas combined for $516 million. Not all of that has anything to do with us. Projected combined government and fire tax revenues are projected to be a total of $1,111,240, an increase of almost 11% over last year. Thank you, and I look forward to a successful 2023-24 year for the village. My door is open, so please don't hesitate to contact me with any questions or any ideas you may have for the betterment of our community. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Heather. Lawrence, Mr. Lake.
Are you going to put them on the screen as I go through? Okay, so we'll just start with the independent auditor's report, and I'll read the opinion paragraph, which states, in our opinion, the accompanying consolidated financial statements present fairly in all material specs the financial position of the village of Chester as of March 31, 2023, and the results of its operations and changes in net financial assets for the year then ended in accordance with Canadian public sector accounting standards. That's a clean audit opinion. So we'll jump to page 3, which is the statement of financial position, or sorry, financial activities. So these statements are prepared on a consolidated basis, so that they include the operating funds, the capital funds, and the reserve funds, and the activities of all of those. So as stated before, the annual surplus for the year was $191,898. And we'll get into some of the other numbers as we go through. So page 4 is the consolidated statement of financial position. The cash and investments is down about $486,000 from the prior year. There was some money taken out from the reserves this year to purchase a new fire truck. HST receivable is higher than last year due to the purchase of the fire truck. There's 66,000 of the balance that relates just to the purchase. Receivables and deferred revenue are both up. At the end of the year, the prior clerk had got a pool grant and it came in right at the end of the year, so it's going to be used next year. So that's why it's receivable and it's also in deferred revenue. So it's a capital grant from the province to do upgrades to the Lido pool. So the net financial assets changed as explained on page 5. So I'll go over that then. In terms of the property and equipment, went up by $819,000 and then went down by the amortization of $262,000. The accumulated surplus is broken down between the reserve funds, investment in capital assets, and accumulated surplus. This is where you see the numbers change for that total of 191 overall surplus. So next page explains the change in the net financial assets, page 5. Starts with the surplus of $191,000. The acquisition of tangible assets was $819,000, and then amortization was $262,000. And then there's a couple, the loss on disposal and the use of prepaids. So the net financial assets decreased by $368,000 a year and ended at 1.168. And the relevance of this number is it'd be what you would have left if you had to pay off all your liabilities. So it's a strong financial position. Just if you're a larger government, this is usually a net debt because they usually have more debt than they have in assets. So. Page 6 is the statement of cash flow. We start with our surplus of $191,000. We add back amortization and the loss and disposal because they're not cash numbers. And then after changes in working capital, we have $332,000. The 1.3 million of investment for cash and 830,000 was repurchased during the year, and then 819,000 of new capital assets were purchased. I'll go over those when we get to the notes. So overall for the year, cash decreased by 6231, and at the end of the year there was $219,000 in the bank. So next are the notes to the financial statements. I'm going to jump to note 2, which is this tangible capital assets on page 9. So this is a breakdown of the additions for the year. Under land, you'll see there's about 84,000 of the cost of the demolition of the old hotel. There was $64,000 of equipment purchase, and most of that was fire equipment. And then our vehicles, you'll see 670,000. That was the new pumper. So overall, there's 819,000 additions. There was $30,000 of disposals, and so your total ending cost of assets is $5 million. Cumulative amortization is 2.4 million, so the net book value is 2.7. So the next few pages have a bit more details. I'm just going to jump to the last page, which is the reserve funds. So the reserves for the year started at 1.41 million. There was 19,770 of interest earned. There was 340,000 transferred in from operations, and then 819,000 paid it for new capital purposes, and at the end of the year there was 950,000 on it. So, and the 950,000 is split between accounts receivable was 71, investments was 830, and there's still 50,000 owing from the capital fund because it was for in prior years to purchase the land. So, and that'll be completed next year.
Thank you very much, Lawrence. Are there any questions for Mr. Lake? Can I have a motion, please, that the auditor's report submitted by Morris Brewster Lake be accepted, and the audited 2022-23 financial statements be signed by the commission chair and clerk treasurer? So moved. Thank you, Geraldine.
Second.
Thank you, Randy. All those in favor?
Aye.
Carried. Opposed? Hearing none. Thank you. Fire chief, it's up to you.
Probably isn't going to be my best speech, so bear with me.
We understand.
Take your time.
The CVFD responded to 319 incidents in this last physical year. This past week was especially busy as we responded to 17 calls in this week alone, including a structure fire, 3 wildland fires, and mutual aid to an approximately 25,000 hectare wildfire burning in Barrington Lake. As a result of ongoing challenges with the Emergency Health Services, EHS, CVFD membership has continued to help our community by upgrading our response status with EHS, making us more available to assist when ambulances were delayed in responding. As a result, we have seen an increase in number of medical calls, but we have seen more fires, structure fires, vehicle fires, wildfires, and mutual aid calls as well to our neighboring departments. The CVFD has earned a reputation for professionalism, efficiency, and safety. Thankfully, we have had an increased recruitment. The CVFD accepted 7 new members to its ranks just this year. They're joining 5 previous new members that signed the active role in the past 2 years. This brings the CVFD to a total of 43 members this year, which is a strong roster on which we can rely. Needless to say, we are very pleased that the new residents to our community are choosing to volunteer with the CVFD as a means to contribute and give back to their own home. We have been able to adhere to a tough training schedule, which includes live fire events, heavy vehicle extrication training, and bringing a new group of drivers/operators into the fold with pump operations training. We have been successful in meeting our seasonal training objectives as well. A number of members have successfully pursued individual training throughout Nova Scotia Firefighter School and other organizations. The membership continues to take pride in the apparatus. They, like the human resources of the department, are admired and in demand for what they bring to an emergency scene. This recognition is especially true for 551, which was replaced with a new truck built by Battle Shield. The truck holds 2,500 gallons of water and is a critical piece of apparatus given the lack of wet hydrants within our district. The CVFD is happy to see the new fire hall project moving forward. On behalf of the entire membership, thank you, Maxine, for your cooperation and support of the CVFD as we transitioned into new leadership. It was greatly appreciated. Thank you also to outgoing Clerk Treasurer Jeff Conrad for all his assistance, time, and patience with the new leadership team of the CVFD. We also want to welcome the new Clerk Treasurer, Heather McCallum. We look forward to working with you over the next year. In closing, the CVFD looks ahead with optimism to the coming years as we all move forward, guided by the new 20-year agreement between the village and the municipality of the District of Chester and the new structure that comes with it. Respectfully submitted on behalf of the officers and firefighters of the Chester Volunteer Fire Department and myself. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Cody. Would you like to read?
I would. Thank you. Not that I don't like your guys' comment. No, man, you're just there.
Thank you very much.
That's
good hat, Cody.
Thank you.
The Lido pool report.
No, Heather, apparently.
Heather, yes.
Public speaking, not your forte.
I just speak all the blinds from the office. Usually we can pull back a little further. Thank you again, Madam Chair. Lido Pool operations, as mentioned in my earlier report, the village operated the Lido Pool from June 29th to Labor Day in 2022. The Lido continues to be a very popular facility with the offering of free public swimming for residents and visitors alike. This year, we hope to open the pool for Canada Day weekend, but are currently shorthanded on lifeguard staff. Similar to last year, we may again be in a situation where public swims cannot be offered every day. If you know anyone, please send them my way. Details of the swim schedule are on the village website and will be updated when we can confirm the opening date. Regarding the swim program, we have the following from Darcy Stevens, the chair of the program. Good evening, commissioners, ladies and gentlemen. Another year has flown by and we are getting ready for another summer of swim lessons at the Lido. Summer 2022 lessons ran really well. We were so pleased to have Brianna McDonald as our instructor, and she will be returning this summer. We are now offering the life-saving swim program this summer as Red Cross discontinued the Red Cross swim program at the end of 2022. Last summer, we had approximately 35 to 50 kids each session. We only have one instructor as they are in short supply. Life Saving Society expects next summer to have a lot more instructors, and they have increased the number of courses available, which should help us on the lifeguarding front as well. We will be offering 2 to 4 week sessions Monday. We will be offering 2 4-week sessions Monday to Friday from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. and 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. We try to limit the class sizes to 4 to 6 children, depending on the ages. This provides better learning, teaching, and safety. We have younger children in the shallow end and older children in the deeper area. The cost will be $70 for each child. For the summer of 2024, we plan to offer 3 3-week sessions, and hopefully there will be more instructors available. The support for the program has been great, as everyone sees the program as a very important part of the community and would like to see it keep going. The funds raised help cover the program overhead and enable us to keep the fees reasonable, so all can participate. Looking forward to a great summer and many more to come. Yours truly, Darcy Stevens, Chairperson.
Thank
Thank
you
you,
very
Darcy.
much, Darcy. Thank you, guys.
Well, I just have one more little bit.
Oh,
Sorry. Capital work. Toward the end of the 2022-23 fiscal year, as Lawrence mentioned, the village was successful in receiving a grant from the province's Department of Communities, Culture, Tourism, and Heritage for $150,000 toward major capital repairs on the Lido, particularly the seawall. An RFP will go out for this work very soon to take place after the 2023 swimming season. It will also require the village to access the Lido Pool Reserve, which we are fortunate to have in good shape. Thank you again, and please come and enjoy the pool this summer. Thank you.
thank you. And thank you. Item 8, business arising. The Municipal Government Act requires us to do an annual review of our expense policy. I would like to have a motion to re-adopt the expense policy, otherwise known as the reimbursement policy. For at this year's annual public meeting, please.
So moved.
Thank you, Laura.
Second.
Thank you. Carol. With our policies, Heather has got on our schedule strategic planning. We should also do some house cleaning on policies to make sure that the titles are appropriate, that they align with the guidelines of the Municipal Government Act, and the spelling is correct and stuff like that. So that's on our agenda for this coming year. Therefore, I'm sorry, I didn't call for a vote on the readoption of the reimbursement policy. All those in favor? Carried. Thank you. The business of this annual public meeting has concluded. We've covered all of the bases. Therefore, the meeting is terminated. We'll see you in a week and in another year for the next annual public meeting. As Heather mentioned, congratulations to Gloria Noss, who has been acclaimed, and there will be no election. So as she said, don't come on Tuesday, don't come on the advanced poll Saturday. You're free to go. Thank you all very much.